Why do we sell options? I mean, this is like the main thing you need to figure out, right? Like if you're in the derivatives market and you're taking a look at an option, you're taking a look at a trade or what have you, you need to figure out like, okay, should I be the option buyer or should I be the option seller? Well, if you've been around the Tasty ecosystem for any length of time, like if we have, captured you inside of our ecosystem, then you know that we generally like to sell options rather than buy options. And why is that the case? Honestly, there are a number of reasons. Like it's not really just one reason. It is a collection of reasons as to why we choose to sell options rather than buy options. But if I had to boil it down to one singular driving force, I think this would be it. So Josh, go ahead and cue us up here on the information. So I think, again, there's a number of advantages to selling options, right? You've got high probability, you've got plain volatility contraction with the negative vega and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, if there's going to be an edge, right? If there's really going to be a true advantage to selling options, it's going to originate from this relationship: implied volatility relative to realized volatility. So if we look at a Black-Scholes options pricing model, right, and we think about the theoretical framework that goes into determining what option prices should be, we have the Black-Scholes option pricing model. The Black-Scholes option pricing model obviously determines what a fair value should be for the options price. Well, remember, inside of that model, one of the variables that gets input into the model is implied volatility, or IV. This is, of course, the forecasted volatility for the next however many days you might be looking at, like whatever expiration cycle you might be interested in, whether it's 30 days or 45 days or 1 day for my shooter McGavins that might be watching the show today. Whatever it is, there's going to be an implied volatility that's associated with that window of time that goes into the model to determine what the options price should be. So options are priced based off of that implied volatility. Okay. The implied volatility is the forecasted volatility for the upcoming period, right? It's an estimate. It's a forecast. You don't know what the actual volatility is going to be yet, but this is the market's, for lack of a better phrase, best guess at what the volatility should be for that window of time. Okay, once the window of time happens, once those 30 days or 45 days or 7 days or whatever actually transpire, then you have a variable called realized volatility. So you're actually able to go in and figure out what was the volatility over this period of time. Like what were the actual fluctuations? Like how big were the actual deviations for those 30 days, 20 days, or what have you? Well, if you look at the comparison between implied volatility and realized volatility, here is what the Tasty research has found over and over and over again. And it's not just the Tasty research, mind you. It would be any empirical studies that are done on the same phenomenon. On average, over time, implied volatility is greater than realized volatility. In other words, the volatility that's going into the Black-Scholes option pricing model, or really any option pricing model for that matter, the Black-Scholes just happens to be the poster child of all option pricing models, the implied volatility that goes into that model is actually higher than the realized volatility that actually takes shape or transpires for that period of time. So what does that mean for us as derivatives traders or option buyers or option sellers? Well, go back up to the middle of this slide and remember, it is the option pricing model that's going to determine what a fair price should be for a given option. Okay, if that price is determined based on the implied volatility, and the implied volatility is systematically higher than the realized volatility for a given period, then it naturally follows that the option prices that got a little extra kick to them. Right? The option prices that got just a wee little bit of extra juice in those prices. So they're kind of overstated. They're kind of overpriced in a way. And so if I'm going into a trade or a potential decision, should I buy the option? Should I sell the option? It's like, well, if I buy the option, I'm going to be overpaying a little bit. If I sell the option, then I'm going to be overcompensated a little bit. And so we like to take advantage of that relationship on average over time. Now, we have to be fair. Well, we've got to be fair. We've got to be balanced. It's not always strawberries and sunshine. Right? This is no guarantee. This is no promise that you're going to absolutely make money by selling options. It's not that at all. Because as anyone who's traded for any length of time, you know that for every gimme, there's a gotcha. right? And this time it's a pretty sizable gotcha when you start getting into undefined risk, naked positions, and things of that nature. But that's a different discussion for another time. As a foundational element for kind of setting ourselves up for success, we like this trade, we like this relationship, and we want to take advantage of the simple fact that on average, implied volatility is greater than realized volatility. So that is why we sell options.